Good morning, members Garrett and Bollendroth, staff and guests. The lobbies are open and the recording has begun.
Thank you, Gretchen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. This is our last board meeting for 2024. Just for the record, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with asking for approval of minute meetings for the November 19 and 26 board caucus, the November 2024 board meeting, and the November 13th, 2024 executive management team meeting minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
This is Ali. I move for approval of the November 19th, 26th, and 26th board caucus, November the 20th board meeting, November the 13th EMT meeting minutes.
Thank you. I second that. So that's approved.
And before we go any further, I have my hand raised.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to congratulate you, Jim, becoming our new LCB board chair.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So thank you, Ollie. I want to acknowledge right off the bat, first of all, that Ollie's been the longest serving board member, having been a board member since 2016. And in conversations with the governor's office and the governor-elect's transition team, Ollie made it clear that she did not have time to be the board chair and take on additional commitments. So I only put my name forward after I heard that Ollie was going to forego the board chair position. I've sincerely enjoyed working with Ollie and the team here at LCB, and look forward to continuing in this new role. I'm taking over the term of former Chair Postman, and so the current term expires in January of 2027. So I'd also like to just take a moment and thank Governor Inslee and incoming Governor Ferguson for their support, and again, the team here at LCB who's been so great to work with over the last couple of years. I look forward to it. So thank you. Thank you all. All right, so with that, we will jump right into our first agenda item, which is Daniel Jacobs from Policy and Rules regarding the adoption of CR 103 for implementation of House Bill 2204 emergency liquor permits. Daniel, are you ready?
I am, Chair Bollendroth. I'll have to get used to that. And then I did just want to give two quick rulemaking updates on other matters before I get into it. The first is just on the THC bill. So the THC bill identified or stated that LCB would be posting a list of non-THC cannabinoids on our website. We have posted that on our website. As mentioned yesterday, our website has gone a fantastic revamp recently, and so while we posted it last week, it didn't migrate over, so I reposted that. That's currently on both the current laws and rules webpage and the recently adopted rules webpage under the materials for the THC bill. And then the second other matter was that last week we received 3 rulemaking petitions. All 3 of those, the responses will be presented at the January 29th board meeting. The first petition was requesting that LCB dedicate funds from the Cannabis Fund for the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder arising from folks who have been impacted by the war on drugs. And the second 2 petitions come from the liquor industry, one from the manufacturer side requesting to create a permit or a permission or an endorsement to allow them to sponsor or serve liquor at private events that are open to the general public. And then the second sort of sibling petition of that came from the retail side. So we had the same request come from a tavern. And then Jeff is working on the response to the first petition about the Cannabis Fund, and Denise is working on those second 2 petitions. I could just pause if there are any questions on that before I get into our rulemaking in chief.
Yeah, no questions. No, I don't see any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So good morning, Chair Vollendroff and Member Garrett. Director's Office is officially requesting approval of the CR 103 final rules on House Bill 2204, Emergency Liquor Permit Rulemaking. If approved today, the final rules will be filed later this morning, and the final rule language will be in effect on January 18th. House Bill 2204 created an emergency liquor permit, allowing liquor manufacturers whose premises are inaccessible or unable to operate due to an emergency or road closure to temporarily do retail sales and on-premises consumption on the premises of another liquor licensee that has retail sales privileges. The statute, which is found at RCW 66 dot or 66.20.010, section 19, goes on to say that the permit fee must be waived if there's a formal or local emergency declaration. The permit lasts for 30 days and can be extended for an additional 30-day period so long as the formal emergency declaration continues. Employees of the hosting licensee can serve the permit holder's liquor. There can be no more than a 30-day supply of permit holder liquor at the host licensee, and that liquor has to be kept separate. Lastly, hosts are limited to no more than 3 emergency liquor permit holders at a time on their premises. As repeatedly mentioned, we're already accepting applications for emergency liquor permits via a policy document issued in July, but as of today, and to my knowledge, no emergency liquor permit applications have come in. We filed the CR 101 on August 14th and had an informal comment period open for over a month and got no feedback. We posted draft rule language 2 weeks ahead of our virtual stakeholder engagements held on September 30th and October 3rd, and sent out the rule language with those invitations in Gov Delivery on September 16th. Both sessions were recorded, and those recordings are on the Law and Rules webpage. I also created a PowerPoint that I used during those sessions, and that PowerPoint is still on the Law and Rules webpage, along with those recordings for anyone to view. We filed the proposed rule language in the CR 102 on October 23rd, and we received one written comment from the Washington Wine Institute indicating their support for the proposed rule language and identifying no concerns. No testimony was provided at the hearing on December 4th. The final rule language is therefore identical to the proposed rule language, given how successful those were received. I've already gone over what the rule does during the October 23rd board meeting and before the public hearing on December 4th. And given that we have a pretty busy rulemaking meeting the rest of today, I won't go over all those details again unless specifically asked to do so. And as such, the Director's Office is hereby requesting approval of the CR 103 on House Bill 2204 Emergency Liquor Permit Rulemaking. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, Board Member Garrett? Seeing no questions. Seeing no questions, Daniel, I made this comment yesterday. I think this is great. I appreciate the work of you and the team and all the LCB staff who worked on this. It is an example of good public policy in response to licensee requests. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the adoption of CR 103 for implementation of House Bill 2204 emergency liquor permits.
I move that we adopt the motion for the emergency liquor permit.
Thank you. This is Jim, and I second that. And so with that, it's approved. All right, Daniel, we've got you 2 more times here. So we'll go for number 2 here. We're looking at cannabis-related rulemaking, and I'll turn it over to you to take us away.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm here to request approval of the Director's Office is here to request approval to withdraw the CR 101 on Employee Stock Ownership Plan or ESOP rulemaking. If approved today, the withdrawal will be immediate. The board accepted a rulemaking petition from WACA in May to consider amending rules to explicitly allow the use of ESOPs as part of ownership structure for cannabis licensee. The petition response was complicated, and there were substantial internal divisional concern raised around accepting the petition. These concerns were identified in the petition response. These concerns related to questions over who would control and direct the cannabis licensees and whether out-of-state entities or individuals can be involved in ownership structure. There are several statutes and existing rules that need to be addressed, including related to residency requirements, financial interest, and true parties of interest. The CR 101 on this project was filed in October, and since that time, the project team has had several meetings to discuss what potential rule language could look like. Unfortunately, discussions and possible regulatory framework solutions generally resulted in identified concerns and conflicts with existing state law. While we initially planned to have stakeholder engagement on the topic this month, we had to push that out to January. And it's since become clear that without legislative and statutory instruction, we will not be able to address this issue via rulemaking. Rather than leave this project open and continue to work towards coming up with rule language, we believe it's a better use of everyone's time to withdraw the CR 101 before legislative session starts and give legislators the opportunity to address this issue during session if they so choose. While there's no statutory requirement for us to withdraw the CR 101, as I mentioned, we could just leave it open. We again think that it's a better and more effective use of everyone's time and a more prudent course of action, especially going into a year where we anticipate budget concerns and already have 6 rulemaking projects that have been accepted in the past 4 months that haven't been started. The petitioner has already been informed that we plan to withdraw the CR 101. Therefore, the director's office is requesting that the board approve the withdrawal of the CR 101 on ESOP rulemaking related to cannabis licensees. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Daniel. Any questions? Seeing no questions, I'm looking for a motion to approve the withdrawal of the petition requesting to amend WAC 314-55-082, explicitly allowing this insurance.
Actually,
This,
Yes.
it's number B.
Yep.
yeah,
Sorry.
weird B, yep.
We're
So this
looking
is,
for to withdraw the CR 101 for employee stock ownership plans.
this is Ali. I move that we accept the motion to withdraw the CR 101 for employee stock ownership.
Thank you, and I second that. Daniel, you threw me there.
Sorry about that. All right.
Okay, with that, that is approved. So going now to the captive insurance companies.
Thank you. Good morning again. This morning, the director's office is recommending denying the petition on rulemaking that we received on the use of captive insurance in the cannabis sector. Before I continue, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm a licensed attorney in the states of Washington and California. However, nothing that I'm about to say is meant as legal advice, nor it should be relied upon as legal advice. The topic of captive insurers is very complex. Anyone with any questions should contact a lawyer that isn't me or the insurance commissioner. On October 31st, Chris Payne of CLIC Risk Retention Group LLC submitted a petition for rulemaking requesting amendment of WAC 314-55082. The petitioner is not a cannabis licensee, but is in fact an insurance licensed as what's called a risk retention group, a specific type of an insurance agent, and they are registered with the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. The rule WAC 314-55082 identifies the insurance requirements for cannabis licensees. It identifies the minimum policy limits and types of coverage necessary for cannabis licensees. WAC 314-55082 Section 2 says that an insurance company needs to have a specific rating from Best's reports to meet the minimum standards. Best Reports is one of at least 9 rating agencies used to rate insurance companies based on a variety of factors. This rule language hasn't been substantively changed since it was first created following the legalization of recreational cannabis. Petitioner also requests to clarify whether a captive insurance company, would meet these minimum qualifications. A captive insurance company is an insurance company that is owned by or a subsidiary of the entity that it insures. Washington insurance law was amended via legislation in 2021 to recognize and expressly regulate the use of captive insurers in Washington state. In analyzing the petition response, we reached out to and coordinated with staff at the Office of the Insurance Commissioner to receive input on this. While we're recommending denial of this petition, if the petition ends up getting accepted, we would need to closely coordinate with the Office of the Insurance Commissioner on this, and they have indicated that they would want and expect our close coordination on this topic. While the reference to best reports specifically in the insurance rule may be a topic worthy of future examination via rulemaking, it isn't clear that now is the time to do so, or that combining that topic with captive insurance is the best way to do so. As I mentioned in my last presentation, we already have 6 rulemaking petitions that are waiting to have CR 101s filed on them. The governor's directed us to closely examine spending and resources. The legislative session is about to start in January. If we did accept this petition, frankly, it would go to the end of the queue, and rulemaking likely wouldn't start for at least a year. It's not clear at this time that accepting that petition to put it on hold behind 6 others and then wait at least a year to act on it's the best way to move forward. Additionally, denying the petition for rulemaking does not preclude us from examining this issue later in time. As I mentioned yesterday, if we suddenly hear back from stakeholders in the public that this is an issue that there is a great deal of concern with, we could certainly re-examine that in the future. I reached out to licensing on this topic to examine what our current insurance verification process is. And again, at this time, this doesn't seem to be the sort of highest priority. Secondly, captive insurers in particular are very complex. Washington law does not allow them to be domiciled in Washington. Instead, they need to be domiciled in a different state and registered to do business in Washington. And so internal staff have raised questions about how a cannabis licensee could have a subsidiary entity that isn't a Washington resident, as well as questions about control, undue influence, and whether cannabis licensees can be allowed to have a subsidiary that's involved in non-cannabis business, really, namely insurance. Therefore, the director's office is recommending that the board deny the petition for rulemaking submitted by Chris Payne and Click Risk Retention Group LLC on October 31st. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have no questions. Board Member Barrett, any questions?
No questions.
I think, again, given the options that we have in front of us, given the timeline in which we're able to respond if we were to accept it, I'm inclined to take the recommendation. But I'm looking for a motion requesting whether to deny the request to amend WAC 314-55082 to explicitly allow the use of captive insurance companies.
This is Ali. I moved that the motion that we deny the petition.
Thank you, and I second that, so that is approved. The motion to deny is approved. All right, thank you. And Daniel, you're done. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right. All right, next on the agenda is Justin Nordholm, Policy and External Affairs Director, who's going to provide recommendations regarding CR 103 implementation of the Gross Second Substitute Bill 5080, expanding and improving social equity in cannabis program.
Great. Good morning, Chair Vollendroff. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I look forward to working with you over the next several years. So today I am presenting a request to approve the CR 103 for the Social Equity in Cannabis program under WAC 314-55-570. The Director's Office is requesting to file these permanent rules for this program. We've discussed a number of these issues in the past and presented on this rule project many times. So I'm going to do an abbreviated background, but I do encourage folks to feel free to go back to the October 23rd board meeting where the PowerPoint that was previously presented has more detailed information in there. So this rulemaking was initiated to implement and gross second substitute Senate Bill 5080 related to the expanding and improving the social equity in cannabis program. The legislation builds upon existing efforts to address disparities and injustices caused by the war on drugs, particularly in communities disproportionately impacted by cannabis prohibition and enforcement. The scope of the rulemaking under the legislation includes expanding the eligibility criteria to encompass a broader range of individuals impacted by the war on drugs, refining the application process to be more inclusive and accessible, and improving the verification methods for eligibility. This includes a clear framework for ownership and control, and implementing measures to verify the eligibility of applicants. The rules also establish guidelines for using affidavits and other documentation and address statewide mobility implementation. As a brief summary background, we did have the CR 101 was filed on November 8th, 2023. During the informal public comment period, we received 30 written comments. We did an initial survey of applicants for 2870, receiving 73 respondents. We also contracted with Whitney Economics to provide some information on thresholds for the types of licenses by county, which is also available online. We did stakeholder engagement sessions, hybrid and also in person in May of 2024. We had draft rules were publicly shared with another accompanying survey for feedback. And that occurred in July, from July 11th to July 18th, 2024, where we received 242 respondents. A public hearing for the CR 102 draft rules was held on September 11th, 2024. And as a result of those public comments, we decided that it was prudent to request a supplemental CR 102 to make some modifications to those draft rules based on stakeholder input. The supplemental CR 102 was presented on October 23rd. And this particular changes between the first 102 and the second supplemental 102 included registration window clarification, where we're going to have two windows instead of one for retailers and one for producer processors. The scoring rubric was adjusted. The license mobility was also clarified and has a implementation date of January 1st, 2026 for the statewide mobility. And the title certificate holders maintaining the approach that we previously had with the LCB policy. So the supplemental CR 102 was approved on October 23rd. The public hearing for the supplemental CR 102 was held on December 4th, 2024. And we had no new comments. We had some that were reoccurring themes, but nothing new. And there were no substantive changes between for the supplemental CR 102 than what has been introduced. We do have one non-substantive technical change that we are making, and this is in section 4AIB. And there's a clause in there that says the social equity contractor reserves the right to verify. And there's really no rights afforded through rules. So we're changing the reserves the rights to a permissive may. And it's just a technical wording change in that area. So with that, the director's office asked the board to approve the CR 103 for social equity in cannabis for permanent rules for WAC 314, 55, 570. I'm also happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions, Board Member Garrett?
No, I have no questions. As I said to Justin yesterday and staff, I know a lot of work went into this. We had our own internal, what we call 50/80 team in-house, and a lot of time and effort went into this. So I just want to thank staff for all the work that was put into this.
Thank you very much, Member Garrett. And I will just second that. I joined the board in May of 2022, and this effort was already underway. And I'm impressed with the work that I've seen. I'm impressed with the amount of stakeholder input we've received. It demonstrates a lot of commitment on the community's part to also be involved in this process. And is it perfect? Probably. There's always opportunity to improve, but it feels like we've done a great job from my perspective on this particular issue. So thank you. With that, I'm looking for a motion to approve adoption of the CR 103 implementing and gross second substitute bill 5080, expanding and improving social equity in cannabis programs.
This is Ali, and I move that we adopt the CR 103.
Thank you. And this is Jim. I second that. So with that, that is approved. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to move right into our public comment, where we invite the public to address the board. Everyone will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Please limit your comments to LCB business and refrain from personal attacks or going off topic into things that are unrelated, what we do here. I will mention if I think a speaker has wandered off too far. Please be respectful to the speakers and everyone else who is present, whether virtually or in person. Do not disrupt this meeting or other people making public comment. If we have any disruptions, I will pause public comment until the disruption stops and ask that the individual leave the room. Please remember that this meeting is being recorded and will be available online later. If you are in the room today, please be aware that the microphones are sensitive and pick up any rustling of papers and things like that. If you are joining us online, please give us a second to connect you and we will do so. Gretchen will give you an alert when you've got 30 seconds left, and I will ask you to include your comments when you reach the 3-minute mark. So with that, we will begin our public comment with those who have registered to speak virtually. And so first up, we have Jay Oba.
Chair Volendroff, J. Oba registered, but I don't see them online at this time.
Okay, we will check back before we're done here to see if they join. Next up, we have Christopher King. Christopher, you should be live.
Great, terrific. A couple of things. First of all, I have information now that a federal agency may be investigating you shortly for violations pertaining to your use of the record and manipulation of the record. More on that later. But today I'm going to focus on two things. I'm going to focus on the apology that is owed to Cantana Fest, the workers, the WCWC, and UFCW 3000, because of the heavy hand that was put towards them during Cantana Fest. Sarah Chernin mentioned this, and she's seconding my concerns that I discovered in my public information request that the LCB was trying to shut down Cantana Fest. Now, she said there was a heavy hand, and I looked that up myself, and then subsequent to that, I discovered that part of the rationale for that was that they were allegedly requesting people to bring in samples for sharing and consumption at Cantana Fest, which did not happen. And it came to find out that it was actually someone, Cassandra Dean, probably from the Fireline Company, that had reported this. So I'm wondering if your staff had followed up with her as I did, because I discovered that Cantana Fest had nothing to do with that. If anyone requested such a thing, it would have come from Cloud9. And Cloud9, of course, are your pet friends that you've forwarded as being successful social equity candidates, when in fact that's not true, because it turns out that they had licenses. One of them, Dennis Turner, had licenses for quite some time, and actually ran one of them into the ground in the Grider case, in which she basically owns the company now. And she alleged that all three of the partners, including Dennis, violated her with unethical practices. So I would expect that you all would apologize to the union and to Cantana Fest and everybody involved for that, because he's a great group of people doing great things for the public and cannabis. So I look forward to hearing that apology. Next, I want to come to Ollie Garrett, because recently there was the bromance soliloquy that was offered by Jim McCrae a few weeks ago, in which he basically impugned all Black and Brown for the way that we approach the board about issues of public concern. And the important thing to know here is that Jim wrote me unsolicited to tell me that there seemed to be some significant anomalies in numbers when looking at Tabor 100 when viewed as trends across the years. And basically, when the starting annual balance of the nonprofit was combined with annual revenue and expenses, the resulting year-end balance did not always reconcile. In some instances, the numbers were off by tens of thousands of dollars. I pulled recent 990s from the IRS site for 17, 18, and 19 and checked versus my spreadsheet. There were discrepancies, not good. So I'm going to have to check my work. And then as Ollie's term on the board ends in August, I think it would be timely to chase this down before she leaves. And then he says, honestly, I don't usually spend hours in the middle of the night compiling into manual from online sources unless I smell blood in the water. I distinctly recall smelling blood that evening. I'm rarely wrong when my numeric fraud detectors start going off. At a minimum, it seems clear that Tabor's bookkeeping has a sloppy bookkeeper involved in keeping or cooking their books. So I would expect there to be an investigation about that. And again, I deserve an apology because, this person that obviously trusts the previous chair, vice versa, a very credentialed person, told me this unsolicited. Okay. And we've never been out of line at those meetings, except for Sammy Saad. We come with valid concerns, and we never get anywhere with these concerns. And so that's why I'm here today, is to tell you what Jim McCray said. So you either have to accept what he says in general. You can't pick and choose what you like from Jim McCray. Okay, he's a credible source, and that's what he said. So, you didn't accuse him of unlawfully attacking Ollie Garrett, did you? No, and you probably won't. But I'm here to bring these issues to the public because hardly anybody else is talking about them.
Christopher, you have 30 seconds.
You have good people in the community trying to do good things with Cantana Fest, and it should be celebrated and heralded. But instead, you guys try to shut it down. And that type of activity is really not in the public interest. And I'm hoping that Chair Vondroff, that you do better, in the coming years or however long your term may be, because the public deserves better. And would you all like to offer that apology now to Cantana Fest and Dubsy Dubsy?
Christopher, we don't respond to questions here, so use your remaining time to finish up.
Christopher,
I know
that's your time.
sometimes you do. Sometimes you
Thank
do, though. It's very selective. Thank you, though. And Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have David Rose. Okay, David, you should be good to go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, nice. I just want to address the 508 bill. I've been in this program for over a year now, and I had my faith in the LCB. I thought you guys really wanted to see us succeed in this program. But I have come to the conclusion that every turn that you guys have a chance to do what's right, you guys do everything against us. And I finally have to come to the conclusion that this organization is just set up to hold Black people down. I mean, there's no other choice. And you guys have proven at every turn that the way everything's set up in Washington State with the moratoriums and the regulations and the rules, it's to set up against us. It's not to repair the damage that's been caused to Black and brown people. It's only to hinder us. And the LCB is the chief head of this whole situation. You guys pushed the whole date up for another year. There's no reason for that. There's already so many things set in place that hinder us already. And you guys just keep on adding it onto the pile to our community. I don't understand why you guys keep doing that. Only thing I keep seeing is hate. I mean, since 1492, I mean, you guys are set up in the organization. I mean, this is a white-run organization. That's what it is. I mean, you guys are the leftover residue of the colonization. And you guys still show that perpetual hate to our community. I know you guys come in those rooms before you guys come out here and go, oh, we're going to have to deal with these Negroes out here. And you guys pretend like you guys care, but you guys don't. And I don't know why you guys act like you guys represent our community. Let's get some real people in there that really care about our community. Let's see some faces that represent our community and speak for us. Because you guys don't. You guys don't speak for nobody but yourself. You guys would never hinder any other community but our community the way you guys do. The way you show yourself, I mean, it's disgusting. I don't know how you guys sleep with yourself. I mean, take a look. I mean, you guys got 46 licenses and still only like 3 or 4 people got stores. You guys are failing, and still you guys have a chance to make it a little bit easier.
David, you have
on
30
us.
seconds.
You guys still hold us back. Why? And you guys pretend like, oh, I can't answer no questions because you guys got nothing to say because you don't care.
David, anything else you want to add?
I got too many things to say to you guys. but I'm gonna keep quiet for right now.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you showing up today. All right. Next, we have Peter Manning. Peter, you should be good to go.
Good morning, Board Valandroff,
Board phone.
or Board Chair. Excuse me. You're right. I stand corrected. Board Chair. I mean, hey, it's a great day. I'm liking it. And good morning, Board Member Ali Garrett. Well, let me say that I think that that was a great move on the part or whoever's part putting Valandroff as Board Chair. Um, I think that was a good move in the right direction to combat the ills that the LCB faces. We still at Black Excellence Campus have some reservations about the people that are inside that department that we believe that have worked against us. I would hope that this board chair looks into the current lawsuit that was recently filed against the LCB for the actions that they took in 2015 that hinders the program that in 2870 that was created or written and created by Peter Manning, Aaron Barfield, and Paula Sardinas and Melanie Morgan, uh, along with LCB back in 2019. I think we know what the ailments are. We should be looking for the solutions to fix those. I believe the best approach is to go to the past harm, fix the past harms that corrects the future. I know some people believe not, but it's true. We have to make up for the harm that was that we caused to those individuals that didn't deserve the harm initially. And that's how we get true redress. That's how we get true vindication from past harms. We can't look past the people that we actually harmed and say that we're going to correct some type of future for them. That doesn't make any sense. Anyone that says that is a fool. We have to say we're sorry. We have to apologize for our actions to truly move forward. We're relieved at Black Excellence Candidates
Peter, you have
that
30 seconds.
Valandroff was made chair to head the LCB. I think that was a great move. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. All right, Gretchen, did Mr. Oba join?
I do not see Jay Oba online right now.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and go into in-person comments. And so first up is Mr. Gregory Foster, Cannabis Observer.
Good morning, Chair Valandroff. Congratulations. It's been it's been nice to observe you coming into the board as a member and the change that you have brought here. I think a lot of good things are owed to your presence here as far as your advocacy for establishing the research team was an important piece. Your encouragement for the public health education liaison to try to bridge gaps between the public health and prevention community and industry stakeholders. Wish you all the best as you embark on your chairmanship. So we're at the end of the year, right? It's been a lot of work. And just wanted to recognize that Daniel mentioned the website change. This was a big deal. I've been following LCB for 7 years with Cannabis Observer, and the website hasn't changed in that time. And so I also know it's hard to do that, right? That's a hard job to actually migrate all of that information and not lose stuff along the way. And wanted to point out that we've seen some things that were lost along the way. And I let staff know this morning, and they've already updated it. So kudos to Daniel Jacobs and the Policy and Rules team, as well as Brian Smith and the communications team that led that effort. So just thank you all for doing that. So yeah, that's just wanted to say thank you and happy holidays, and see you in a month.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Paul Bryce, Happy Trees. Morning, Paul.
Chair Bondorf, congratulations. It
Thank
seems
you.
like the census are the same. Everyone obviously has a good aura vibe about you. I know in 2022, when I first met you, it was during one of the social equity meetings when you came on and you said you heard comments like stewards of the plant and so forth. That was myself. Want to make my mother proud, but either way, I just want to say congratulations again. You do strike me as someone who, outside of the Mr. Rogers vibe, good person, but strike me as someone that if you hear some BS, you just won't pretend to be dumb about it. You'll address it. You strike me as someone that would address something or things of that nature for us and a lot of things. Anyhow, I've got 2 minutes left. So, during this, I've been this for 5 years. Paul Bryce, Happy Trees retailer. I've been telling you guys prior, telling you guys during, that before you even hand out these licenses, folks are going to get outmaneuvered, outplayed. Again, the retailers that they're saying the success is, if we talk about who they actually really are. And I keep coming here not because I'm excited to come here, and I don't sit there and call out names, I've never done that. I like to think so people can hear what we're saying and then try to follow in the works and try to chase it down and get to the root and have things keep changing and for the better. But you talk about Cloud9, Lucky Leaf, myself included, Happy Trees, another one of the supposedly 5. That's 3 right there. Then you have the Green to Go. Those are 4 licenses that are already existing retailers, and we already know the next round they're already trying to, for the ones that Ramsey who abused and got 12 of these licenses, and if you guys don't like award or have more points for a sole proprietor versus a corporation to just, or these management contracts for us, for anyone coming into this industry just to get used up in 5 years for their exit out of this whole industry, because that's what it's going to be, because that's what it takes, 5 years before you can buy one of these guys out. And so it's all getting set up that way. All the licenses are going that way, and all the success we're seeing is through the existing retailers already. And the next round is nothing but more retailers that are going to double down their efforts to try to get these licenses already. Getting back to what we're on the next thing, I still say once a DIA, always a DIA. To remove a DIA from someone who survived the DIA just makes no sense.
You have 30 seconds.
And the title certs, again, to simply just, for black or brown, this is supposed to be for black or brown, but we know how it rolled out. We can no longer say black or brown, but yet when we want to sit there and use that term black or brown, because it just makes everyone feel good that we're still trying to do it, but it's just a complete joke because it's not. But title certs, a retailer that doesn't have a store can just find themselves a poor person and someone who had some type of offense or lived in DIA and then now become a black or brown or a SEA.
Oh, that's your time.
Themselves. It's complete ridiculousness.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you coming. All right. Next up, we have Sammy Saad.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and congratulations, Jim. I have much respect for you, as well as Ellie Garrett, David Postman, all of you guys. It's nothing personal, but I've never seen anything. I was a nice person. I really wish you the best, and I support you, and I support people supporting those pioneers. My name is Sam Saad. I am the first medical cannabis pioneers in Washington State ever. I've been discriminated as a Muslim guy, came from Africa, dual citizen. I help in this community. I own Sudanese American Justice and Equity Association. I not own it, but I'm the president and the main creator. I'm one of the member of Sudanese American Unity Association, and we call it American Unity. Every time we say American, because we are American, we help in this country, but we have our own tradition. We need you guys to understand. I went to J. Asley, and I was part of it on a social equity. I met Ellie Garrett in the Illusion Center. This is very important to give me time, Mr. Jim. I met her in the Illusion Center. And her and Paula, they really wanted to help me. I don't have nothing against them. They want to help me. But the people who supported me more than them, I can make somebody win election, not because I'm the best. No, because I help in the communities. They say, serve, people choose you. We are more than 65 Washingtonian cousins and people related to me on multiple medical transportation companies. I think they take people from dialysis to different places. I learned how people really miserable on being, intoxicated with drugs and alcohol and 211 killing people. That's why one thing I don't encourage, no alcohol to be associated with cannabis, period. Respect us as a community, and we are here. But the lie we have, when we went to the Olympia, they say this is for the pioneer, HB 2870. One day I called the board, I called here. Kevin, I think his name is Kevin, in 2017, 18. I'm not sure the year, but he said something called HB 2870. This is for you guys, to help you guys. I was going to the street, leaving my job. I'm a general contractor. I own Green Junk Removal and Hauling Surfaces. It's furniture removal, like 1-800 Junk. I'm not better than anyone. I created when I had the cannabis shop is open. I don't want to feed my family from cannabis. I'm Muslim. Don't make me better. I'm just such a guy as I believe, we all can live. But I love everyone. So I went during the time. I brought 2 people, one to present and to work with me on my own license. And I was working in Alaska.
Sammy, you have 30 seconds.
My point is, Ellie Garrett lied to Senate, and she told them she met with the pioneer. Jay Asley told her to meet with the previous cannabis medical pioneer, business owner, black owners. She lied to Senate. She lied in Olympia. But I wish her the best. I wish if she's true. I called her phone. She said, when she said she will help me, she said, do never, ever, ever call me again. If I have an update, I call you. I wish to see her in here, but to help the people. This is if it, next rubric, if it
Sammy,
didn't
that's
give
your time.
here, it didn't give anyone, and this is failure, Mr. Jim. This is very important. And now we're facing a problem with Monica about money and the grant, and they want to sue us because of the delay they give us, and all Garrett and all this mess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you the best.
All right, that meets the end of in-person testimony. I just want to end the meeting with, again, thanks for the warm welcome as the new chair. I will do my best to live up to David Postman, who I hold in high esteem, and look forward to working with you. As a newer board member, 2 years, social equity, as I mentioned, was in process when I started. And I don't know all of the history. And one of the things I was hoping today is I could hear from you, Ollie, if you could maybe just share a little bit about the history of the social equity program since you've been around since 2016. It would be helpful to me if you could do that.
Yeah, but Mrs. Team, I want to say one thing before.
Sammy, we don't know.
Okay.
Please respect the process.
For the pioneer, and because I went to jail,
Sammy, I will ask you
because
to
the
be
judge-
removed
Oh, no, thank
if you don't
But I want to
respect the
say that we've
process.
been lied to. We've been
Go
lied
ahead,
to.
Ollie.
Thank you. Let me see, where do I start? As you know, in 2012, I-502, which legalized cannabis for the state, passed in the state of Washington. We were one of the first states in the nation to do so. At the time, Jim, I think that there were about 2,500 applications for 335 slots at that time. I-502, it did not address any medical cannabis collective gardens, which continued to operate. So probably around 2015, Senate Bill 5052 to merge the unregulated cannabis market with the recreation passed, it created a single regulated system under our oversight. At that time, there was an additional 260 slots, and the agency had about 1,800 applications. In late 16, after hearing from the community that felt like that they were left out and discriminated against and things, I was appointed to join the board. And when I joined the board in late 2016, I met with a lot of internal stakeholders, external, attended meetings of the Cannabis Alliance. I heard from a lot of the medical dispensary owners that did not get a license and just came back inside of the agency and discussed with staff and just started working on what is it that we could have done different. One of the things that there was no provision in 502 for social equity or opportunities for those that was harmed by the war on drugs. And it was a lost opportunity. So the LCB actually in 2019 started taking a look internal and at the marketplace to say, what is it that we can do? It was only 4% Black, 4% multiracial, racial, just very low minority participation. So in 2020, in order to address that, the agency submitted an agency request bill, House Bill 2870, to see if we could get started on creating the first social equity program and to address some of those harms. 2870, that created the Social Equity Task Force. I was on the Social Equity Task Force, a lot of the community people, legislators. Our staff actually was on every meeting listening in as they were listening in to the conversations.
I am the one
and
made with
things.
some community. I'm the only one in Washington State that was a public study. I'm sorry to say this one. This is very important.
You need
He lied to the
I will
public. I'm
ask
sorry,
you to,
but
I will
I have to
ask
say
you
this
to,
one because it's
Sammy,
this
I
is
will
the
ask
last
you to
thing
leave
I'm
if you do
saying.
that one more time, okay?
Sorry,
Thank you.
I just want to let her know she made with my community. They have me
Sammy,
5 news.
I'm gonna ask you to stop.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Ollie.
So the 2870 created the Social Equity Task Force. During that whole process, the LCB listening in, we started improving the website and getting prepared and getting ready for what was going to come from the task force. It was a critical step in addressing the disparity. And in 2022, the community bought a revised bill. I think it was called House Bill 2022, but due to many factors, that bill died. So in an effort to continue to improve the process and get more meat into what we were doing under 2870, that's when we introduced what we just voted in today, Senate Bill 5080. And to help improve the process and things. But that's what got us going and got us to where we are today. And I could email you to the staff more information on that. But like I said earlier, staff became very committed to what can we do now, what we can do to create a social equity process, start building a website before the task force was even finished, and just came together to say, what is it that we can do at this point to try to go back and fix the lost opportunities that didn't take place and that there was no provision for when I-502 passed. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. That's really helpful, and I appreciate hearing that background. And some of it I have known, but you just shed some light on some things that was helpful to me in terms of understanding the history and the LCB's role in particular in that. Just in closing, so thank you very much with that.
Yeah,
in closing,
they just one of the things that stood out is the LCB followed what the legislators instructed them to do, and just didn't take an opportunity to step back. And it was a lot of pressure, timelines and stuff, and didn't take the opportunity to say, what can we do different within our control other than just exactly what the legislators said? And I think it all came from being overwhelmed. 2,500 applications for 335 slots, and then an additional 1,800 applications for 260 slots.
Mm,
Yeah.
Mr. Tim,
amazing. Sammy, this
Yeah.
is not
I
time.
replied why I been
This
denied if they have more license.
Ollie, anything else to add?
And she didn't
Nope,
follow.
that's
the-
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sammy? So I, first, again, thank you. You know, I mentioned when I joined the board that my background is behavioral health. And in that role, I'm very, very aware. Sammy, I'm talking, Sammy. I'm very aware of the impact on the war on drugs on Black and brown communities. I
What
saw
about the
it
people
every
who started this
single
one,
day.
Mr. James?
I
We started. I don't
Sammy,
want to
I'm gonna
press it,
ask
but
you to
I
leave.
started.
I'm gonna ask you to leave, okay? I've given you every opportunity, so I need you to leave.
I'm not gonna speak, but
I need you to leave, Sammy. I've given you every opportunity.
That's fine. So I'm not allowed everyone here.
I'm asking you to leave today. For
Okay, I'm
today.
gonna leave today.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Elegant lied to the public and lied to us. And
Okay.
people, then she would, Molly goes pioneer. I started this first. She lied to us. Elegant, her boyfriend have more licensing. Jen Buchanan have more license. This is fair for the pioneers. This is not fair. She met with my community. She met with us and it was a public study. That's why she had.
Sammy, you need to leave.
This is very embarrassing because I'm Muslim. That's why I've been treated that way.
Yeah.
This is very sad. She disrespected me
I
too. This is very
apologize
disrespectful. I'm
for the
taking you there.
disruption,
This is a
but
lie.
one of the things that I hope to maintain is the rule of order in these meetings.
job,
I really need to have that, and I respect everybody's participation in that process, so thank you. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm very familiar and understand the impact the war on drugs has had on Black and brown communities. When I worked at King County, my office was directly across from the King County Jail. I looked out at that literally every day. And I know that that facility is filled with people who live with substance use disorders, people of color, people who live in poverty. And so we have an obligation to right some wrongs, historical wrongs. And we're committed to doing that. We want to continue to engage in conversations to right those wrongs. So I do appreciate the community's participation in this. And I sincerely am proud of the work of the LCB and the work that we've done to move us in the right direction. Do we have more work to do? We can always improve, and we will continue to work to improve. But we get better through participation from the community. We get better through ourselves listening to community feedback, and we'll continue to do that. So with that, I will close today's meeting and appreciate everybody's participation, and happy holidays and happy new year, and we'll see you in 2025.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Bye-bye.